You got the raise. And somehow you're still broke. Not technically broke. The number in your account is larger than it was 2 years ago. But the feeling is the same. The low-grade anxiety. The sense that you are always just at the edge of what you have. The quiet discomfort that you thought more money would fix and didn't. This is not a personal failure. It is a mechanism. It has a name. And once you understand how it works, you will start to see it everywhere. The mechanism is called lifestyle inflation, sometimes lifestyle creep. The name describes what happens when your spending expands to meet your income, not all at once, not through any single reckless decision, but gradually, almost invisibly, through dozens of small upgrades that each seemed reasonable at the time. You made more money, so you moved to a better apartment. You started buying better food. You upgraded your phone on schedule instead of running the old one into the ground. You took the slightly nicer version of the vacation. You said yes to dinners you used to say no to. You got the gym membership. You stopped clipping coupons because the math no longer felt worth the time. None of these decisions was wrong. Each one individually was defensible. The apartment is nicer. The food is better. The life is more comfortable. That is what more money is supposed to do. The problem is that comfort has a ratchet effect. It only moves in one direction. Once you have the nicer apartment, the old one becomes unthinkable. Once you are eating better food, the cheaper version tastes like deprivation. Each upgrade resets your baseline, and the baseline, once reset, feels like the floor, not the ceiling. So you earn more, you spend more. The gap between what you make and what you keep stays the same or narrows. And the feeling of financial security, the feeling you were working toward, remains exactly as far away as it always was. There is a concept in psychology called hedonic adaptation. It describes the human tendency to return to a roughly stable level of happiness regardless of what happens, positive or negative. You win the lottery. You are briefly euphoric. Within a year, your happiness levels return to where they were before. You lose the use of your legs. You are briefly devastated. Within a year, your happiness levels return. Not entirely, but significantly more than most people would predict. The brain adapts. That is its job. What is extraordinary becomes ordinary. What is ordinary becomes the minimum. Lifestyle inflation is hedonic adaptation applied to material circumstances. The nicer apartment stops feeling nice. It just feels like where you live. The better food stops feeling like an upgrade. It just feels like dinner. The things that were supposed to make you feel better have been absorbed into the baseline, and the baseline doesn't feel like anything because nothing that is simply present tends to feel like anything for long. This is not ingratitude. It is neuroscience, and it has a specific implication for how you think about income and financial progress. Earning more money will not make you feel more financially secure unless the earning and the spending are deliberately decoupled. Here is what lifestyle inflation looks like from the inside at different income levels. At the beginning, when money is tight, every purchase is a decision. You are aware of your spending because you have to be. There is not much margin for error, and the consequences of overspending are immediate and concrete. This is uncomfortable, but it produces a kind of clarity. You know where your money goes. Then income rises. The margin grows. The immediate consequences of any single purchase become less visible. You stop tracking because you don't have to, and because tracking felt like a symptom of not having enough, and you finally have enough. The purchases that used to require deliberation become automatic. The deliberation was the friction, and the friction is gone. This is the moment lifestyle inflation accelerates. Not because you are spending recklessly, you are not. But because the awareness that used to come with scarcity has been replaced by something that feels like freedom but functions more like blindness. You do not see the individual decisions anymore. You see the aggregate only when the credit card statement arrives or the bank account is lower than expected, and by then the decisions are already made. The version of this that is hardest to talk about is the social dimension. Lifestyle inflation does not happen in a vacuum. It happens in relation to other people, specifically the people you are around. When your income rises, the social circles you move in tend to change. The friends you make at the new job earn more than your old friends. The neighborhood you move into has different norms around what things cost. The restaurants you are invited to, the trips you are expected to take, the way money is spent in the company of people who have more of it, all of it creates a new ambient pressure on what feels normal. You are not trying to keep up. You are not consciously comparing. But the baseline is being set by the people around you, and the baseline is rising. This is why lifestyle inflation tends to accelerate as income rises, not slow down. The more you earn, the more expensive your reference group becomes. The higher the floor that feels like the minimum. There is a specific moment that a lot of people describe when they look back. A dinner, usually, or a vacation. A conversation where someone mentioned a number, what they paid for something, what they spent on a trip, and the number was large enough that it should have surprised you, but it didn't. That is the moment you know the baseline has moved. When the number that would have been shocking 3 years ago is now just what things cost. The gap is what matters. Not how much you earn. Not how much you spend. The gap between those two numbers, that is where financial security lives. A person earning $40,000 and spending $32,000 is building something. A person earning $200,000 and spending $200,000 is not. The income is irrelevant without the gap. Lifestyle inflation is the process by which the gap closes as the income rises. The solution is not to stop spending. It is to make deliberate decisions about which parts of your lifestyle you upgrade and which parts you consciously leave behind. Not all upgrades are equal. Some things genuinely improve your life in ways that last. More space if you need space, better sleep, less commuting, food that makes you feel good. Others are pure baseline setting. You spend because the people around you spend, because the thing is available, because you can, because not spending would feel like deprivation even though nothing would actually change. The distinction is not always obvious in the moment. It usually becomes clearer in retrospect. The vacation you remember as transformative was worth the money. The upgrade to the slightly nicer version of the car you only drive to work. Looking back, you are not sure you would do that again. The people who escape this mechanism are not the ones who earn more. Plenty of high earners are as stretched as they were at half the salary. The ones who escape it are the ones who made a decision, usually once, not repeatedly, about what kind of life they actually want, and then spent toward that life instead of toward the baseline set by their income and their peers. This sounds simple. It is not. It requires knowing what you actually want, which is harder than it sounds. It requires resisting a current that is pulling in a very specific direction. It requires watching people around you upgrade and not automatically upgrading with them. But the alternative is a specific kind of exhaustion. The exhaustion of working harder to earn more to fund a lifestyle that keeps expanding to absorb whatever you earn. The exhaustion of never quite getting ahead. Of reaching the number you thought would be enough and discovering that the number has moved. The raise did not make you feel better. The next raise will not either unless the gap is protected. That is the part nobody tells you when they congratulate you on the promotion. The money is real. The feeling is optional. And it will only come if you decide to keep the gap.